Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cassie Viella, and what I want to talk about today is some 3 useful, easy to grow, easy to use plants that I think every Texas garden should have. And when I say garden, I don't mean vegetable garden or, high maintenance garden. I mean, every Texas landscape should have these 3 plants. And so I thought about the premise for this video because a lot of people ask me, I'm not a gardener. I'm not going to be taking care of it every day. I'm not going to be obsessed with it like you are, And so what is something that I could plant though that would be useful? And so, herbs really fit the bill there, especially here in Texas where it's so hot. A lot of herbs really like it hot and dry, and they'll do really well. We have really poor soil in a lot of parts of San Antonio, so the herbs will be just fine and just happy in that soil. And so I picked 3 today that I think that everybody could easily add to their landscape. And then also I picked 3 that are in a lot of recipes that anybody can use. Everybody who is a cook knows how to cook things with these 3 herbs. And so let's go over those today. Let's get started. All right, so the first one that I want to recommend is parsley. So you can see here, I've got it in my bed, and I think that it's something that grows super easily in Texas. I actually planted this plant from seed. I started it inside under grow lights. No need to go that extreme. You can buy it at any nursery, any of the big box stores. You can even buy it here locally at H-E-B, and they've got some really good plants there for, I think, about $4. So a pretty cheap plant from H-E-B, but it'll grow really well in pretty much any soil. It's very low maintenance, and it's parsley. So, we put parsley in a lot of things that we cook. Everybody pretty much knows how to use parsley. And it just looks like a green leafy plant. So you could put this in, scattered a few parsley plants in with your flowers, and then that green will be like a nice backdrop for the color pops of those flowers. And nobody will even notice that you're growing parsley in your yard. Another reason I really like parsley and other herbs is because we have a deer problem here in San Antonio. And so anything you plant in the front yard has to be deer resistant. And deer and other animals generally don't bother herbs. I mean, they will if they have to, but like I have chickens, my chickens don't bother the herbs. It's just that strong smell, so they don't want to mess with it. So you're safe to put this in the front yard. It's cheap, low maintenance, and it'll give you some great fresh herbs to use with dinner. All right, so you can see here on the other side of me is my basil. Basil's great to grow because it is so much better to have fresh basil in your recipes than dried basil. When you dry it, it just loses almost all of its flavor. And so anybody who's ever cooked with fresh basil knows that. But if you go to the store, you'll get this little bitty packet of fresh basil for like $3 or something. Whereas at the same store, H-E-B, again, you could get this whole plant of basil for $4. So go ahead, buy the plant, just throw it in the ground, throw it in whatever garden bed you've got going on out front. You could even put it in a pot, and basil loves it hot, it loves it dry. It'll just keep going all throughout the summer. You won't have to worry about it. A lot of the time it'll self-seed and you'll just have basil next year kind of automatically, which is wonderful. Do be careful because it can take over a bed that way, but I think it's one of those great things. And the nice thing is that it's just a really beautiful plant, in my opinion. It's got these really full leaves, and you can get green basil and you can also get purple basil. So you could even mix those 2 together and kind of create a color scheme that looks pretty and actually looks ornamental, but tastes delicious. Alrighty, so the third plant that I think every Texas landscape should feature is mint. So mint grows so easily. You almost can't kill it if you tried. So this particular mint, I actually planted it in a house I lived in back in 2017. And then I rented out that house to tenants. And a couple months ago, those tenants moved out and I went back and there was this huge mint patch. It had just taken over the front bed. And so I literally just bent down, grabbed a bunch of it with my hand, like pulled it out of the ground and threw it in the trunk of my car. I forgot about it for that day. I went the next day, went out to the car. It was all wilted and dry, of course. And I brought it in. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is dead, but we'll see. Threw it in a glass of water. Within a few hours, it was green again. It was happy. And I threw it in this pot of dirt. And so over the last couple of weeks, it has really taken off. It's filling up this pot. So that's just to say, okay, this plant's been around 4 years. The tenants, did nothing to take care of it. So it survived. It survived snowvid. It survived quite a bit. So mint is definitely tenacious. You are not going to have to spend any time on it. The one thing I do recommend, you'll notice that this is in a pot. And I learned my lesson from that first house. Mint is going to take over. So it actually sends runners through its roots to produce more plants all over the place. And so you definitely want to make sure it's in a pot. And I even have this pot on a brick, because even if you have holes in the bottom for drainage, which you should have, the roots can grow out through those holes and just take over. So, all of that to say, just be careful with it. You want to make sure that you plant it in the place that you can control its growth, because it is going to grow like crazy. And my favorite thing about mint, I cook with it sometimes. It's pretty good in like fruit salads. Like if you mix it with, mango and some berries, it can be really, really tasty that way. But my favorite thing to do with it is to throw it in some water with like a few slices of lemon. And so I usually have a pitcher of water in my fridge with, maybe just like that many mint leaves, maybe a couple more, 7 or 8 mint leaves and like 3 lemon slices. And that water is heavenly. It's so good. We fight over it. So, and of course, mojitos and mint tea is really good for the stomach if you have a stomach ache. So mint is super useful. I think it's a beautiful plant. There's all different varieties that look different. It's easy to grow. You can't kill it, I promise. And you'll really love it.